definitely. But let's talk about the change then, innit? Because obviously Liverpool got to change something. They got to change something. You know what I'm saying? They got to change something because right now you're sitting behind my team, Man United. You know what I mean? So, Errol, Liverpool do return Premier League. What can they do? What changes can Slot make to get back to where you guys need to be and competing again?
Mad thing, bro. And that's the first time in the last couple of streams I've done where someone's asked me forward thinking questions. Everybody wants to be down in the mud, licking
That's
the
the man
wound.
that's the man that's
feels
growing up, you know.
Bro, but
Wait,
the truth is, I like to look at like what are the fixes like because we're here now. There's nothing I can do. I can't go back. What are the fixes? And I've tried to kind of personally just take a bit of a breath and go, do you know what? Fucking hell, international break. I don't like them, but this time I needed one because it was peak for a minute. In terms of Liverpool, I still think the City game's bruising, but I still think the 2 games prior to that gave me enough to kind of go off to think, okay, he's getting himself back on the right track. Now, you can always lose to City. I think where I was disappointed in the loss to City was the performance. The performance was missing. It was a very abject performance and it was very stale. Now, again, I don't know whether it's because he's trying to go back to what I'd worked so much last season and just drip feeding a couple of players. But I think he also wanted to try and get the form back into the squad. Now, in that week period, we played 3 games. Some of those players have not been in the best shape to do that. I'm hoping at that point in time. So I'm thinking, okay, they've done those 3 games. The City game might have been a game too far for them. But after the international break, can he come back and reset with that same sort of setup? If he doesn't trust that setup now after the City game and on the basis of that, which I think would be a bit of a misstep, because I think the teams we're up against now, we should expect to win. We're at home against Forest on the weekend. We should expect to get a run of games now. But if he was to go hell for leather, there's 2 choices for me. It's we go to the back 3. We have to accept that we're going to have one of 2. We have to either go to the back 3 and accept we're going to have to use either Joe Gomez or Andy Robbo as a third choice centre half. Depend how quick Frimpong comes back. One of the good things is Alisson's back. Isak's back as well. So there'll be more questions there and there'll be more quality to add back into the squad. Or we just go to the diamond in midfield, which then automatically enables Florian Wirtz to be involved in that midfield. And then you go to 2 up front. Now, with Isak being back, it might be Salah peels a little bit further wide and you've got Florian Wirtz doing a half-9 job next to Ekatike until you bring on Isak. And I'd start to make some big substitution decisions in the likes of maybe Salah needs to be your first sub. Maybe at 60-minute mark, he needs to be the one to say, we're going to... And I know he can be the guy to score your goals at any point in time, but if you want him to start building towards the future, if you want him to start transition, we know come January he's going to be in AFCON anyway. We're going to have to start playing long periods of games without Mohamed Salah getting goals for Liverpool Football Club. So I think there has to be some brave decision at some point sooner rather than later. But there's a couple of things you could do with the formation, or you can just stick to what we've been doing up until we got our nose broke by City and hope that we can bounce back.
Just quickly, you did make a lot of good points, but again, just going back to that word change, the 2 suggestions you've given me, that's a lot of change, Errol. Especially mid-season. So go to a back 3. You want to come over here at Ruben Amorim. You want to do the Ruben Amorim ball. You know what I'm saying? So that's I know they're international players and I know they've probably played in the system before for other teams. I'm just saying in terms of like getting a whole Liverpool basis again to like, yo, this is what we're doing. It might be very difficult to adopt a different formation in that sense. I think more over... Go on. Sorry.
No, I think you just dead quickly. I think you're right in terms of that might be not a situation that he wants to do, but with Alisson coming back, he might just remain what we've been doing because he trusts that we've got Alisson back now, and that gives us a little bit more solidity in terms of less likelihood of conceding goals. But I do think that is a massive change. But it could be the blueprint of what he wants once we go into the January market for a defender. So it might be a necessary change at this point.
What do you make of Liverpool at the moment, Connor? Do you see any signs of them coming back in? Pushing you lot a bit, or is it pretty much set in stone with them?
Right. Honest hat on, the quality that they are, what they've shown, obviously last and in previous seasons being, third behind us in City, but still being a dangerous team. You can never really count them out. But there's also a part of me that wants to say it looks like the slot machine. It's like the Klopp effect has worn off. And that's kind of what he rolled off last year, because it was Klopp's team and they played like Klopp's team all season. I don't know, did that give us of what slot is about? Or is this just a weird transition period, and over the next few years he's going to be one of the best managers that in the world? It's hard to judge. It leans more to that, and it's horrible to say, especially with Liverpool fans that are friends of mine. But he came into a setup that was already there. They continued to play like it. They won the league. Other teams fell off. It was a low, and then now the first challenge, bringing in your players, playing your system. And already lost, 5 league games?
Yeah.
Like, it's a big hit. And if you look at the team, right, why Salah hasn't been performing so much this season? You brought in who was supposed to be the best creative player in the world. Now a lot of stuff goes through Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz has not been able to find running. So now we've already taken a portion away from the most creative player, and making changes and switches in that midfield. And someone said, I think it might have been with you guys last time I was on. I think it might have been Dell or something. I was playing in a 10 a lot last season. Liverpool didn't really have a 10. They had Sobo and Maka, both kind of in that slightly forward centre midfield position. But I remember, Errol, you pointed out on a show a few weeks ago how often playing a 10 actually managed to find Salah, who was the man right next to him. And it was an astronomically low number. I think there's just too much extra creativity been brought into that team, and it's taken away from what. And losing Luis Diaz as well, I've pointed out, has been a massive thing for them.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that, but yeah.
All right, cool. Errol, why are you not trying to hear it though? Because I agree. At times, I don't think he necessarily provided that attacking quality for you guys. There was very times where he's wasteful. I do hear that, but there's another part of the game, as you know, and that's the defensive side, and that's the pressing, and the intensity, and that's what he brought. Do you know them South Americans? They just have it, like the Tevez's of the world. Like, you had that in Nunes, you had that with Diaz. So are you not missing that because the players you've brought in now, they're more like luxury, flamboyant players that don't really want to get too dirty and do the nitty gritty. Do you get what I mean? So,
but before obviously Errol gets the ball, I just want to say something. Like I play professionally, yeah, but like, bro, do you know how hard it is to be consistent, bro, at the highest level? Like, brother,
this is why they get paid the money they get, my brother.
For sure, but I'm saying there's levels to it, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, with just cool. With what Connor said, yeah, I hear it. But I feel like Slot, and I'm gonna give you a bit slow, which he did cool, Gravenberch. Now that wasn't Klopp. That was Slot. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he played Luis Diaz up front, Gakpo up front a bit. There was a bit of, you know what I'm saying, Slot sprinkle. But I think, yeah, man, that's what I really gotta say on that term. But yeah, the floor is yours, man.
No, look, everything you've said about Luis Diaz, the good and the bad, is right. I was just more frustrated, and I think Hans started to allude to it for me. Slot came in, didn't get the bag to go out there in the transfer window and buy his players, so he had to work with what he was got. That was his first remit, and in having to do that, I always refer to this on content when I was doing it last season. I wasn't mad that we didn't do the signings because we signed him to be the head coach. The key in that is head coach. He's not just the manager. He's the guy that is operating the system, the style of play, and his job is now tasked to get an extra 5 or 10% out of players that I thought were very good under Jurgen Klopp. But in the years that we had bought them after we had won the league, through one thing or another, we just never was able to get ourselves back over the line. So the year before, obviously, we finished third, but we had been in the title race up until about late March, early April. I was like, can he just get more? And he did. Gakpo was better, and he didn't really play Gakpo through the middle that much. He opted to play him on the left side. That was Klopp's thing, trying to play Gakpo through the middle. Didn't really bang. Putting him over on that left, his numbers were very good, and he was a lot more of an efficient left winger than the likes of Luis Diaz. But it's in that left wing kind of bubble that he operates. Where Luis Diaz was probably the last of the mavericks that we had within this squad. But as a maverick, he was able to deploy him to be the intense presser, the one who would track all the way back, the one who had that engine and that stamina. So we had those additional qualities that you wouldn't necessarily just apply as a normal, typical left winger. But for me, the stuff in front of goal, where I wanted to see him bang and be explosive and make better decision making, a lot of that was just still wanting all the way towards by the time we sold him to Bayern. And I think when Slot was looking at it, that game against Leverkusen, when he does go through the middle and he scores a hat-trick, he was absolutely brilliant. And it looked like that was the type of role that Slot wants his number 9s to be playing, and there could be some legs in that. But then we tried it a couple of times in a couple of other big games last season, and he just couldn't get going. He, at that point, was being too maverick, running around like a headless chicken, not knitting the play, and not being close enough to goal when we needed to get the ball into the box. So you just knew that was never going to be a long-term solution. So it was always well, if we want me left winger to be me left winger, Cody Gakpo's more efficient at doing that for us, and he'll put up the numbers without all of the mad thing that happens elsewhere on the pitch. If you want somebody to be your hound dog, up, down, then you do go for Luis Diaz, but the output still doesn't give you what you desire. And I just thought, if in terms of value for money, I thought the business side of it, it made sense to sell him at the point in which we did. I'm not mad that he's tearing it up in the Bundesliga now either, by the way. Like, he's a special player, but you've just got to have the right setup. And he's the type of player, ultimately, that you build a bit of a system around and let him off the leash to do his thing, whereas he had too much of a role.
You know what? Just again, shows. I don't know. Let me go quickly if you don't mind.
Yeah, go on, bro.
Just even on that note here, like when Slot came in, it's a settled club. I'm not like it's club like with Liverpool. There's a lot of like unity. You know what I'm saying? Togetherness. He comes in, does his thing, whatnot. But it's like anything, bro. You know, as a manager, to manage egos. Like there's Isak now, there's Salah, there's Wirtz, there's Van Dijk, there's big names. Managing egos is stuff that you gotta work off the pitch, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? And he's finding that out now. Has he got the cojones to say Isak's on the bench, sorry, not playing? But that's a different type of stress, you know.
But he's been doing that minus the Salah thing though.